Oh wait, hold that pose.
No.
So original. Don't worry, Max. I'll put a vintage filter on it right before I post it all over social medias. Now, why don't you go fuck your selfie?
Dude.
Oh yes, Victoria. I'll get your bony ass out of my way.
Hey everyone, this is Trent and I'm finally back after a 12-month long holiday. I do sincerely apologise for this. Thank you to those of you who have been asking where I am and where my videos have been. I have been away from my health. I am feeling much better, so thank you to those who have been asking and who have been slightly concerned. I am alive and I am doing a video today to hopefully get past that 12-month gap. You might notice that I'm doing a voiceover today. Unfortunately, I can't seem to find my power cable for my camera. Obviously, without my camera, I can't film anything. So instead, you get to hear my voice instead of looking at my hideous face. In today's review, I want to go over a game called Life is Strange, developed by a team called DontNod Enternainment and developed by Square Enix. Ain't that funny? DontNod continue to impress me with their rather unorthodox approach to storytelling. Although many people were divided on their previous game Remember Me, a game that I gave a rather good review for, Life is Strange tells another unique and at times poignant tale of growing up in college through the eyes of a female character called Max. I'm sure we all know how the episodic format works, so I don't feel I should have to elaborate on the game's narrative structure. Many people will instantly find parallels in Life is Strange with other games such as Telltale's Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us, and Heavy Rain, just to name a few. While the game might look like a typical coming-of-age college story, the game is littered heavily with themes that are mostly undiscussed in the video game medium. Revealing these themes may be giving away too much of the story, so instead I will say that it does go into some very dark places, and it does so often. So, warning, if you are easily offended or turned off by games that use heavy pop culture references, profane language, and offensive material, then Life is Strange may not be the game for you. The game reminds me of a movie that I really enjoyed called The Butterfly Effect, starring Ashton Kutcher. Life is Strange feels like its little sister in a way, as they both convey the same type of message, which is, actions will and do have their consequences. If you like these types of story-centric games, you'll get the general gist of what I'm trying to talk about. Photography also plays a huge part in what defines Life is Strange, a medium that I know very little about. I loved how the game emphasizes its importance as a form of expression and art. The way the artist is able to suspend moments in history through their vision and through their lens, how it has evolved into the new age of selfies and digital photography is also discussed at certain points. I also enjoyed how the narrative and its main theme blend seamlessly into each other, which is the game's bread and butter. Arcadia Bay's Blackwell University is filled to the brim with interesting characters and story arcs, something that you will discover over its 5-episode run. Oh gosh. Max's best friend Chloe instantly springs to mind as a highlight and was my personal favourite character. If you can get past the game's very blunt teenage colloquialism, you might find yourself surprised at how sharp and intelligent the story can be. The game is raw, unapologetic, and secretly reminds us why school days for some would rather be forgotten. I will say that episode 2 out of time was my least favourite. I didn't hate it, it just tended to sag somewhere in the middle with its rather slower pace. All is said with the game's 2 final episodes, with episode 4 The Dark Room being my absolute favourite. A friend of mine who actually finished the game before I even started described this game to me as, quote, an emotional rollercoaster ride which gives you the feels, unquote. People should really listen to their friends more often like me, because boy was he right. And for those who are wondering, yes, I did indeed shed some manly tears on several occasions. I'm not afraid to admit that I'm a human, so yeah, that did happen. Photography and the time-travelling mechanic in Life is Strange go hand in hand. The game is played from Max's perspective and involves interactivity and puzzle solving, which spreads across branching timelines. Max is able to do much more than capture pictures. She also has the gift of rewinding time, which eventually leads to time travelling. Where in other games smaller decisions made less of an impact, the threat here of making a wrong decision, big or small, had much larger ramifications. Max is able to rewind almost any scenario or conversation in-game and can be done an infinite number of times to see all possible outcomes. What is awesome to me, however, is that you don't feel penalised for seeing each scenario through before making a decision. I consider this a top tip for those who are new and are getting into Life is Strange for the very first time and want the full experience. What's more impressive is the game's tendency to make you feel very conscious about the decisions you have to make. Sometimes replaying each situation will yield no positive outcome at all. As hard as some of these are, you still have to bite the bullet and make your choices. Aside from time travelling and rewinding, Max also has the opportunity to take optional photos to flesh out her portfolio, I like to call it. I found this optional quest enjoyable and kept me engaged in the game's NPCs and environments. I understand this may have trophy or achievement novelty instead of real value, but I found Max's extra monologues interesting nonetheless. Entries via Max's journal and texts through her cell phone can also be viewed at the player's whim. This will also keep track of the progress you have made thus far. There's also that famous Silent Hill 2 technique used where the journal contents will start changing of its own accord, something that you may find interesting as noted by yours truly. The only slight issue with the gameplay I had were the forced combat stealth segments towards the end of the game. It felt very out of place, but I am a forgiving person. Collectively, the gameplay is a success despite this one little nag. Rewinding the hands of time and playing God is something that never gets old in my opinion. Visually, the game might look like it's stuck in an outdated dimension to some, but I think the game's visuals look absolutely charming. I love the dreamy, bright and vibrant colour palettes. Most noteworthy are the added photographic touches such as double overexposures, depth of field, flares, blase, all of which are the game's ace in the hole. I also really appreciate the depiction of each student dorm rooms at the Blackwell Academy. A lot can be studied with these characters if the player is willing to look hard enough at the small nuances. Some are colourful, others questionable, and some being downright creepy. Graffiti is another mainstay signature and fits the game's hipster and indie feel like a glove. Everything looks and feels appropriately perfect, and I love that the visuals look slightly cartoonish instead of being hyper-realistic. I had a very similar reaction to the visuals of Bioshock Infinite, and I think the same rules apply here. Not everything has to look like a AAA title game to be successful. The only thing I found distracting was that rarely ever would the voice acting match the character models, essentially resulting in poor lip syncing. Since I found the voice acting exceptional, Chloe's actress comes to mind, it does tend to spoil the experience at times. A little care here would have done wonders. Aside from this, aesthetically the game is a marvel to behold. The walls of Blackwell may hide some nefarious secrets, but it looks ravishing doing so. I have still not finished listening to the tracks within the Life is Strange, so instead I'll only skim over what you can expect from the game, sonically speaking that is. The game is very heavily reliant on its music, which I would describe as appropriately indie with leanings towards more alternative styles of music. The music feels effervescent and youthful, yet it's also tinged with moments of melancholy and sadness. Cliffhanger moments at the end of each episode brings out the best in these licensed tracks, and it's used to great effect during these closing scenes. I also love the point where Max would plug in her earphones down a corridor or on a bus to drown out the noise of the world. Said music tracks would take over, and I thought this was a very unique and very pleasant touch. Life is Strange, quite simply, is one of the most involving and detailed games I've played in recent memory. Long have I waited for a game that is open to discussing well-known issues that plague the youth of this generation. Some have tried, most have failed, but I think Life is Strange has left its mark and done itself justice. Amidst all the raging hormones and adolescent cliches, Life is Strange is a deceptively deep game that has the emotional content equivalents to a tidal wave. Its decision making and time traveling mechanics, although derivative, are refreshingly raw, and it doesn't apologize for it. I mean, why should it? Characters are expertly drawn out over its 5 episodes, the game, visually speaking, is aesthetically charming, and the story is a dark, gleaming gem. So, would I recommend this game? Hell yeah, I would. Did you guys like the Chloe reference there? If you enjoy a story-driven experience where your every decision counts, then Life is Strange is a game you will adore and revisit more than once. If you are not willing to give the game a chance, I feel you are missing out on what might be one of the most profound stories told of this current generation. Play the game or not play the game. The decision is yours. I'm sorry, my game puns are terrible. So that was the review for Life is Strange. I hope you guys enjoyed it. To me, this game was a big surprise. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did, and left me thinking a lot. Waist deep in thought I was, so I thought I'd punch out a review before the end of 2015. Obviously, this video will be posted in early 2016, so Happy New Year's, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying the holidays thus far. I am planning my next video already. I will leave this on the down low for the time being, as I'm still adding finishing touches to this. So if you guys got any feedback concerning Life is Strange, do so in the comment section below. It's good to be back again, and until next time, I shall remember you soon.